All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you can see in the title, 2023 will have lots of unexpected surprises. Okay, and I got that from reading this article here, which speaks on a couple of different things, but one of the main things here is the worst food crisis in modern history, which is something that I guess in light of all these other crises that are taking place in the world, they're not really highlighting the food crisis as much. Yet it is being spoken about, of course, but not as much. And a lot of people that are in places like America and other parts of the world that aren't facing immediate hunger think that it's all good, it's all nice and dandy. But this is actually going on, all right, and it's getting worse and worse. And in fact, very soon people are going to be feeling it here as well. Okay. So it says the mainstream media admits that we are facing the worst food crisis in modern history. It says people on the other side of the planet are dropping dead from starvation right now. You have some that are dropping dead here for other reasons. But it says, but most people don't even realize that this is happening. Unfortunately, most people just assume that everything is fine and dandy. If you are one of those people that believe that everything is just wonderful, I would encourage you to pay close attention to the details that I am about to share with you. Global hunger is rapidly spreading, and that is because global food supplies have been getting tighter and tighter. Now, when we actually keep on going, you'll see what the proposed solution to this crisis is, of course, by your so-called world leaders. And majority of these things are if not all are they have a man-made hand in there, right? That is furthering this food insecurity or this food crisis. And the thing is, it doesn't happen overnight. They are strategically breaking down the infrastructure and destroying these supplies, and it's going to take a lot more to set them back up. But people are already feeling this. And according to prophecy, Yahushua prophesied about it. One of the things that are going to, a part of Jacob's trouble, a part of the destruction is going to be famine. Okay, famine. People are going to be dying due to lack of food or due to certain diseases that they'll get from not eating. Because when you don't eat, your body gets so weak, your immune system becomes practically useless, and the slightest or minutest of diseases can kill you. All right. So it goes on to read. It says, if current trends continue, we could potentially be facing a nightmare scenario before this calendar year is over. So that's one aspect that people should keep in mind is food. The thing about famines is that people are so used to eating, and they seldom think twice about access to food. And like, for example, if they shut off the power or the water in your in your house, or in your apartment, that's when you realize, damn, because when you go to turn on the water to brush your teeth or to take a shower or to wash your dishes or whatever it is, you realize, damn, like, I really depend on water a lot. These things you don't notice or you don't realize when it's there, it's freely accessible. Same thing with electricity. Or imagine leaving your house and then you forget your phone at home. Imagine what kind of day that would be, going about with your regular day outside without your phone on you. Because what, when you're maybe you get lost, you're looking for directions, you're gonna instinctively reach into your pocket to try and find your phone to look for a GPS, and then realize, oh, it's not with you. Or you want to call somewhere, wherever, maybe you're going to work, you're running late, you want to text or call your manager, and then boom, you realize, oh, you don't have your phone with you. Whatever the case is, and that's when you realize, oh shoot, damn, I really use this a lot. And I'm giving those examples, relating it back to food. People now have Uber Eats. They now have what do they call them? Convenience stores, fast food restaurants, grocery stores where you can easily just go here and pay for this or buy this or even go to a, um, what do they call those things? A food bank and get something from there, right? Go to a bodega here, go here. And so because it's always there, people, I feel like eating this today, so that's what I'm gonna eat. Now, once you lose that and you don't have access to that food so freely anymore, it's going to be a big problem because clothes, okay, you can do without. You don't need new clothes all the time, right? You can use the ones that you have, wash them, and keep it. A lot of people have unnecessary amounts of clothes in their closet that they don't even wear. Cool. Clothes are one thing. Shoes are one thing. A car. All of these things are one thing that you can live without. But when it comes to food, there's really not an alternative for that. The way the Lord designed us, you either eat or you don't. And if you don't, you will die. And the way you will die is the painful thing. Dying from starvation is a painful, slow process. And that's why people would rather turn into cannibals than they would starve to death. And yet, this is the impending danger that the world is facing, but you have your average individuals walking around like everything is sweet and dandy. And some of them, the Lord has appointed to die by famine. So it says here, Pakistan is not one of the poorest nations in the world, but the lack of affordable food is starting to cause panic inside that country. The following comes from Times Magazine last Saturday in Mirpur. I'm not Pakistani. I can't really pronounce these names like that, but we'll do the best we can, right? Kaz, a city in Pakistan's Sindh province, hundreds of people lined up for hours outside a park to buy subsidized wheat flour, offered for 65 rupees a kilogram instead of the current inflated rate of 140 to 160 rupees. That's a lot. And the thing about it is when there's a shortage of food, when it's hard to get access to it because there's a shortage of food, it makes things hard. But at the same time, if there's bad economic conditions and prices of these products go up, that also makes things hard. But when you have both, it makes it very, very difficult. So it says when a few trucks arrived, the crowd surged forward, leaving several injured. One man, Harsing Kolhi, who was there to bring a 5 kilogram bag of flour home to his wife and children, was crushed and killed in the chaos. Why? Because imagine, imagine for those that have seen The Lion King, right? The movie, the animated movie. There's a scene after Simba's father dies, Mufasa, right? After Scar basically sets him up and then throws him off the side of the cliff, and then he falls, and then there's a stampede coming, right? I think that's what happened. Yeah, Scar set it up and triggered a stampede, and Mufasa went there to try and save Simba. And after he saved him and he tried to crawl out, that's when Scar came in and basically threw him back in there, right? Now, when you watch it, right before the stampede comes, you hear the sound, the dun, 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 you know what I mean? Like the sound of like almost like shaking and all of that. And then you just see a whole bunch of, I don't even remember what kind of animals they were, wildebeest or whatever, but a whole bunch of them just running, 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 running. Well, that's how these people are gonna be when it comes to when desperation sets in and they start storming these stores, and then when the stores are done, they start they start going after these food trucks that transport food and all of these things because people are gonna be desperate. Now, in a situation like that, you don't want to be caught out there because everybody has the same idea. The second they catch wind that one store has goods and no other store has it, they're gonna be there. And some people are gonna come there with weapons. They're gonna come there that with the mindset that whatever it takes, I'm leaving with some food. So even if I got a body slam and DDT and RKO an old lady, that's okay. She might get pedigreed on the countertop, so so I can I can get those goods. Yeah, people are not gonna care because in their minds they're gonna be there for look. I need what I need. So I'm going. It's going to be the easy way or the hard way, right? But the point is, that's how you have this example here where this man was crushed and killed in the chaos because people are not going to stop and say, "Oh, wait, let me help you out." No, their mindset is, "Look, I'm trying to get me some of them goods." It says, we are we are seeing similar things happen all over the planet. Just because you still may have enough food to eat doesn't mean that everyone else is okay, and that's temporary because the Lord is gonna. When the Lord says one thing, that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, the plagues that when you go back to the time of Exodus and the Lord basically told Moses to go and proclaim to Pharaoh to let the Israelites go that they may sacrifice unto him. And when he refused, Moses would announce the plagues that would happen. And then he would, by the hand of Moses, the Lord would plague Egypt. Now, prior to those plagues hitting, you would think, right? What are the chances that that's going to happen? I mean, everything is okay. Things are going good. Things are going fine. Egypt was one of those big cities, those known, well-developed nations at the time. And you're coming to say what? There's going to be hail. There's going to be locusts coming to do what? There's going to be fraud. It seemed unlikely, and yet, it just like that, in the twinkling of an eye, that plague was able to hit them so much that they were suffering. Right. So guess what? It's the same thing here. The Lord can flip things on a dime just like that. That's the fear of the Lord, and He's going to let it be known. So it says here, in fact, things have already gotten so bad that even CNN is admitting that we are facing the worst food crisis in modern history. And this is why at the WEF, right? They mentioned the term polycrisis, right? I believe it was at the WEF, but they mentioned polycrisis, right? Many crises happening at once, making the situation much more worse or much more dire, which the world is getting ready to see. This is not the destruction and the suffering has not passed yet. We're yet to really enter the height of it. Okay, so no, the worst hasn't come yet. Yet the world is still in the grips of the worst food crisis in modern history, as Russia's war in Ukraine shakes global agricultural systems, already grappling with the effects of extreme weather and the demic. Then it goes on some more. I read it already, so I'm gonna jump to the parts um, that are more, most important here. I've also linked this article in the description box, so you should have access to it there. It says, sadly, it isn't just in Somalia where the food crisis has reached catastrophic proportions. Trust me, your morning, your day to day looks very, very, very different than somebody that's in Somalia right now, all right, or somebody that's in a country facing a very acute food crisis right now. Trust me, the mindset, even that, the mindset is completely different, and that's going to happen here. The mindset of people is going to change so very quickly. The things that they worry about now, the things that people consider to be their issues and their priorities right now, is gonna disappear from their mind just like that. Okay, because they're gonna have much more serious problems to worry about. Like they say, haven't you got bigger fish to fry? That's pretty much what's gonna happen. Because people right now they're worried about things that pertain to their like their job, or there's this person I don't like here, and this person annoys me, and this person does this, or can you believe my manager said this to me today? All these different things. But when the time comes, when you wake up and the mindset is, and they worry about these things because they don't have to worry about other things. When you wake up, you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat, or if you're going to eat that day. I mean, it's slowly working its way into people's lives now, but that's not their top priority. Oh, I'll just stop by, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts on my way, or stop here or stop there, pick up something, and then boom, I got to think about, how I'm gonna pass this test, in class or whatever it is. But when those things go away, the shelter goes away, the protection, the safety goes away, the food goes away. Those become top priority. Who the hell cares about turning your assignment in on time when you don't even know if you're gonna be able to eat? You don't got a place to stay. See, when that sets in, that kind of reality sets in, people's perspective changes very quickly. It changes very drastically and it changes very quickly. Um, it says here, according to Reuters, the entire country or continent is now dealing with the worst food crisis that Africa has ever seen. That is pretty intense. Across Africa, from east to west, people are experiencing a food crisis that is bigger and more complex than the continent has ever seen. And those are terms for Jacob's trouble, a time like never before. So you'll see famines on levels that you've never seen before. You'll see pestilence on levels that you've never seen before. And the Lord is steadily bringing these things. And until they come and do the damage that they're set to do, they won't stop, and the Lord won't turn it back. Um, all right, let's go down some more. All right. So it says here, please go back and read that statement again. Do you remember all those years when Sally Struthers was begging us to feed the starving children in Africa? Well, the truth is that conditions are now far worse than when she was making those commercials. At one hospital in Somalia, grieving mothers are regularly bringing in very young children that have literally starved to death. Sometimes mothers bring us dead children, said Farhia Mahmoud Jama, head nurse at the pediatric emergency unit, and they don't know they're dead. Now imagine that. That's on some what's that in the scriptures? I think it's in the book of Kings. Forget if it was Ahab, where he was and it might have been in Samaria. So you had those two mothers that saw him and they basically brought their case to him saying, we agreed that we would eat the child of this mother today, and then we did, and then the next day, the next mother was supposed to bring her child, and then she went and hid her baby. She said, "You crazy as hell. I'll eat yours, but you ain't eating mine. You crazy?" And then they were going back and forth, yada yada. They were talking about the price of things going up so high, selling what's that, pigeon dung and the head of an ass, because of how sore the famine was, right? So here it is. You have situations where you got mothers bringing in dead children, and they don't even know. They don't know the children are dead. It says, weakened by hunger, camp residents are vulnerable to disease, and that's why you have famine and pestilence that are often closely tied, because those that are weakened by famine are very susceptible to catch different diseases. And also, when you have death, you have a high chance of diseases, because um, dead bodies that are not buried, they're not taken care of, they start to breed different diseases. It says, and the scriptures talk about how their dead bodies shall lie, not Revelation, but you're gonna have dead bodies in the streets. Um, where we at? Yeah, so it says maybe the whole world is hungry and donors are bankrupt. I don't know, she said, but we are calling out for help and we do not see relief. So right now, currently, you have people that are dropping dead, okay, because they're not getting food to eat because they're so hungry. And then on the other hand, you have people that are so full that they're throwing, they're throwing large chunks of food in the garbage. They're probably rubbing their bellies right about now. Whew, damn, that was a good, that hit the spot. And then they're good. But at the end of the day, the Lord is going to bring it upon whoever He wills, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If the Lord says you're going to die by famine, that's exactly how you're going to go out. So if you're trying to lose weight, well, you don't got nothing to worry about then. But it says UN officials are doing what they can to help, but the truth is that they are absolutely overwhelmed by the scope of this crisis. Or maybe they don't want to do anything just yet because they want to present another solution here. It says over the past 12 months, the number of Africans that are dealing with acute food insecurity has absolutely exploded. All right, then it goes on some more. But also here in the U.S., you have that the egg crisis, right? The eggflation. I believe that's spoken on somewhere here, if I can find it. It says sadly a lot of Americans are simply not going to care about what's going on. First off, a lot of Americans don't even care about what's going on in America, let alone famines that are happening outside. But it's okay because the Lord is going to draw their attention very quickly. Um, it says over there, as long as we have enough food over here, of course, food supplies continue to get tighter on our side of the planet as well. Um, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's see. All right, yeah, they're saying here that the what is that? The amount of it says the agency estimated farmers harvested 79.2 million acres, a decline of 1.6 million acres versus the previous estimate. The smallest acres are harvest since 2008. That wouldn't be so bad if our population was the same size as it was back in 2008, which clearly that is not the case. Yep, they're saying apparently now you have the average U.S. household is spending $72 more on food per month. And when you break it down, it says that figure is pulled out of a report that says the typical U.S. household is shelling out $371 on goods and services more than they were a year ago. And it's not going to stop there, right? Pursuant to Revelation, I believe it's 6 and 4, you're going to have hyperinflation and prices are going to go even higher than they are now, ridiculously. It says in particular, the price of eggs has gone completely nuts. I recently came across an article about one small business owner that is now paying three times as much for eggs as she once did. And look, you when you have like a bird flu or some sort of dangerous pathogen that goes around in these chickens, you get eggs from chickens. So when they call and euthanize these chickens, you you have less eggs. You have less chickens, less eggs, prices go up. Now, that is not just dealing with chickens. The Lord can send a plague in cattle. Like he did back then. The Lord can send a plague in certain different animals, and then farmers have to now kill those animals. They're not good. They can't use them for food and whatnot. And just as simple as that, the Lord says, okay, I'm going to send a plague in these animals so they're not usable anymore. Right? You can't get, because animals, they provide you more than just food. But let's just say for food's sake, right? You can't get meat, you can't get beef or chicken, or because guess what? Eggs go up, chicken go up because they come from the same creature. All right, you can't get this, that, and the third. And now you have prices going up, you have food insecurity getting worse. People start getting desperate. They get desperate enough, there starts to be riots. People start stealing, people start hurting others, crime starts to go up. And then eventually that gets so bad, now people are getting shot, people getting killed, people getting stabbed. Because the second violence hits a certain threshold, or the second violence or crime crosses a certain threshold, you'd be surprised how easily people commit violent actions without a cause. It may have started because of desperate times and no money, and I had to steal and I had to do what I had to do. And then it ends up at a point where I'm just doing it because, well, I mean, it is what it is. That's the times we're living in now. F it. I don't really have a particular reason, but everybody's doing this, so why not? Yeah, things like that happen. So one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and then when you look at the destination, you can't even connect the dots to how you got there from the start. You say, well, it started with just this, but how the hell did it end up all the way here? Started with a whisper, So that's how it goes, man. That's how the dominoes go, and the Lord's about to hit them dominoes, and you'll see. It says here, it just seems like the cost of everything is going up these days, and that includes egg prices, which are affecting local businesses. We used to buy 15 dozen eggs from Sam's for $23. They are now $68. Sheesh. And said Cindy Gutierrez, the owner of Creative Cakes. Now it's about 63-ish for 15 dozen, and it's also hard to get 15 dozen, said Caitlin Wallace, the owner of Katie Pies. The prices of for eggs have surged 3 times. So now let's think about this, right? Let's think about how, on a small scale at least, how this affects more things. Okay, less chicken, the less chickens that you have, the higher prices, the higher the price of egg is, right? And also chicken. So now you're dealing with, which is going to be mentioned here, you're dealing with eggs. Okay, what do we use eggs for? You use eggs for regular eggs, right? You eat eggs, but you also use it for other things. Hold on one second. Let me charge this laptop so that it doesn't die on me. But the point is, you use eggs for other things. If you want pancakes, if you want baking, if you want, different recipes, use eggs. So you wonder why. Wait a minute. If the prices of eggs are going up, why are the prices of this going up? Why are the prices of that going up? Because things you don't think about. There are certain things that rely on other things, which rely on other things. Okay. If you have a pyramid and the pyramid goes in a way where whatever happens at the top affects the bottom. Whatever has been anything that happens from the top, it trickles down, right? The trickle down effect. But whatever happens at the bottom doesn't necessarily affect the top that much because you're doing a trickle down. It's not a two-way street, it's a one-way street. So the higher up the problem is, the more destructive it becomes. If the problem lied in you not having chickens at all, that's going to be a lot of destruction. That means anything that relies on chicken, whether for meat, whether for eggs that you use to, bake or use to make other product, all of those things are affected. Okay, all of those things are affected. So when there's a shortage of certain products, you have to think about, okay, how does this affect everything else? Because it's not just this product, this raw resource alone. The raw resource is valuable because of its uses. So what are the uses of this resource that I'm going to be missing out on because of this shortage? But people don't think like that. And so they get hit, they get caught off guard. So it goes on, it says, the prices for eggs have surged 3 times their original price. According to the Consumer Price Index, egg prices increased by 10% in October 2022, and that increase has continued to rise. This is causing a domino effect for restaurants, businesses, and bakeries who use eggs. So now what's going to happen? They're going to raise the prices of their goods. When you go there, you go to the restaurant, you go to the business, you go wherever it is, you look on the price. Oh, this went up. Oh, that went up. Oh, this went up. You say, wait, but you guys just increased the price last week. Yeah, that was because of inflation, but now there's an egg shortage. So now we got to up it up again. So, yeah, man. Economic conditions are changing so rapidly now, and nothing will ever be quite the same again. As we move forward, check this. As we move forward, the widespread use of beetle burgers, and no, beetle burgers is not a fancy name of some combination of a patty with cheese and it just looks like a beetle. So no, 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 no. Beetle burgers is exactly what it sounds like. The bugs. Okay. The widespread use of beetle burgers is one of the solutions that the global elite are starting to push. But they ain't gonna be eating beetle burgers. They're gonna be eating fresh slaughtered cows that eat wheatgrass. you know, it says beetle burgers could soon be helping to feed the world, according to new research. The creepy crawlers larvae, better known as mealworms. Look, my man, this ain't no damn freaking Lion King where dude runs away and then they talking about some Hakuna Matata, opening up, lifting up, broken down branches and scooping up all different types of bugs and worms we're not doing that. All right, we're not doing that. F that. But it says it says better known as mealworms could act as meat alternative to alleviate hunger worldwide. Now, you mean to tell me that the earth has been going on all these the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Persians, the Greeks, and there were famines during the time of Egypt. Why didn't all the way up until even the time of Rome? And yet in this time is when The world has to worry about overpopulation. You got to worry about your carbon footprint. You got to now start eating beetles and bugs. Yeah, that's right. You own nothing and be happy. You gonna eat that beetle burger, whether you like it or yes. What type of shit is this? This is why the Lord said, if the Lord did not speed up these days, if He did not shorten these days, there shall no flesh be saved. So it says, the mealworms could act as meat alternative to alleviate hunger worldwide. The process uses a fraction of the land and water and emits a smaller carbon footprint in comparison of traditional farming. To make this a reality, French bio-tech company Y Insect is planning a global network of insect farms. What? Including nurseries and slaughterhouses. A pilot plant has already been set up at Dole in I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce that because I'm gonna do a bad job at it, but you can see the name right there. If you're French, you probably won't have a problem reading that, but I am not. But this is a region of France. Doesn't that sound yummy? Of course, these beetle burgers will just be a drop in the bucket. No matter what the global elite try, they will not be able to stop the worst food crisis in modern history from getting a whole lot worse. So I would encourage you to stockpile while you still can. Global food supplies are getting a little bit tighter with each passing day, and I have a feeling that 2023 will have lots of unexpected surprises for all of us. So that's where the title comes from, right? The lots of unexpected surprises. But yeah, they want you to eat the bugs. That's the beetle burgers and the Y insect companies and whatever else, the mealworms. Okay, that's gonna be the new thing when you go to the menus, and instead of the what do they call that? The Happy Meals. You're gonna have the Happy Meals with the bug edition and all of that. And this is pretty much what they're pushing. So yeah, and famine and hunger is a very, very effective means of getting people to break. When they lack food, that's very difficult. But with all that being said, it's all part of prophecy. There's a reason why the world is headed in this direction, because it's prophesied in the scriptures to happen that way. The Lord set it up. In fact, the Most High is the one that's bringing these plagues upon the world as a punishment. So there are people that don't even expect it, but the Lord has set it up to where they're going to die of starvation. Now, this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 16, verse 22, because it mentioned in the article that the famine isn't going to be just in Babylon or in Europe, it's going to be worldwide. So it reads, "For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine." And this is a prophecy. This was shown to the prophet Ezra when he received all the series of visions. So he said, "Many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish," meaning to die, "of famine, lack of food, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy." So there are going to be some that are going to be able to eat. Maybe they'll eat the mealworms. Maybe they'll eat the beetle bugs, the beetle burgers, whatever. But if they some that are able to survive because they get something to eat, they're still gonna get taken out by the sword. Because if you're destined for death, then guess what? Death is what you're gonna get. "And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them." So when you like even today, you may be walking down the street, and then you got to be careful because you might step into somebody's dog feces that is just left on the corner of the street somewhere. But as it says, the dead shall be cast out as dung. So there are gonna be places where you may be walking and just catch a foul scent, and you cut the corner and you just see like a pile of flies and shit and rats running around, and you just see dead bodies just decomposing there on the street. And what is that going to be? That's going to breed infections, diseases. It says, "And there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down." And this is still yet to happen, but it will. It will in the time of complete chaos. "There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it." So the farmers and those that actually do these things, plant and water and harvest, no more of that. And at that point, it's going to be very difficult to get around. It's going to be very difficult. Resources are going to be very scarce. But the scriptures say also in Isaiah 65 and 13 on down that the Lord said he's going to feed us. And also in the book of Second Ezra, the Lord mentioned that we're going to have abundance. Okay, we're not going to be out here struggling, looking, very malnourished and having these kinds of troubles. The Lord knows that if we don't eat, we're going to die. So the Lord is going to take care of us because, Lord willing, we are those humble servants. We've done what the Lord asked and what the Lord required, so he's going to protect us. This is Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 40, verse 8. Such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast, and that is sevenfold more upon sinners. Death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. See? So the Lord has set these things up as a what? As a punishment, as a recompense for the wicked. That's why he's going to deliver the righteous, but the wicked, they're gonna get the full force of these calamities, of death in many different ways, of bloodshed, whether you're hit in the head with a brick, you're stomped out, a pipe is shoved into your eyeballs, whatever it is. Strife, sword. Today you have guns and all different types of weapons. Calamities. Maybe a unstable building might break and a big piece might just fall on you. Maybe it might crush your leg and then here you're stuck. And you can't move. You're bleeding out. You're stuck. You're trapped there. You're thinking maybe you should cut off your leg, but yeah, hey, it's too heavy for somebody to move. Tribulation and the scourge. So the Lord has many ways of punishments, many judgments that He is going to be unleashing in this time, and that's why you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing according to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is Ecclesiasticus, same book, 39 and 29. Fire, and when you read up above and below, there's a bit more on there, but I just wanted to hit the point of this verse, right, which says fire and hail and famine. There you go with that word again, famine. See, famine is one of those the Lord really, he uses quite often as a form of judgment. And famine and death, because famine is pretty much, look, man, if you don't have food, it's unless the Lord intervenes and you don't have food, it's inescapable. It doesn't matter who you are, how fast, strong, whatever you are, you will succumb to it because your body is going to break down. Your body needs food. It needs water. And if you don't have these things, you're not going to make it. So it's a very, very effective form of judgment, and one that you don't want to experience. There's in the book of Lamentations, it tells you that to die by the sword is better than to die by hunger. So fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. And the Lord is getting ready to bring that vengeance upon the earth as a form of destruction, as a form of punishments for the wicked, for those that did not take heed. And us knowing this is mercy. Even that in itself is mercy, because now we can take heed. Well, if this is coming as vengeance, we don't want to be on that side when the Lord returns. We want to be on the side of reward, not vengeance. Hell no. So lastly, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 5. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord," because as we're prophesying these things and we're telling people these things, it doesn't seem to register in their minds. Some of them just think, oh, it's just happening as a byproduct of certain things, and that's just where it is right now, but it's not really gonna go as far as you guys are really making it out to be. Okay. "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world." So we're just the messengers telling you what the Lord is going to do. "I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine," there we go with the word famine again, "death and destruction." Why? "For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth." That's why these judgments are going to affect the whole earth. "And their hurtful works are fulfilled." So the Lord has a measure in which, once it's full, that judgment is going to be unleashed full force upon the planet Earth, and nobody will be able to escape it save those that the Lord has mercy on. So I'm going to end it here. And the food insecurity, the food crisis is only one aspect of the surprises the Lord has for this year, and whatever it is. So it's only one aspect of it, But we know that we're very quickly entering that time of Jacob's trouble, and then best believe when it happens, you're not going to need to ask. You had some people asking, "Oh, we in Jacob's trouble?" You're not going to need to. You'll understand perfectly. But with that, I hope you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak, Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.